What about potential engagement promoted by the material? Sorry? Potential engagement promoted by the materials. Do the activities there are activities that are interesting and fun in the classroom, or is it always listen to the teacher, talk to the person next to you, listen to the teacher, talk to the person next to you, listen to the teacher and talk to the person like you guys are going to do now. So go ahead, take a look at your course book. Thank you guys. So see, this analysis, the analysis of the methodology behind the course book is a little bit more complex, isn't it? It's a little bit more difficult for you to identify these features if we compare them to the previous ones. The previous ones, the external ones, are a little bit more obvious. Topics, overall progression. These ones, you really have to look at individual activities and see if that activity is appropriate or not and things like that. Of course, when you're deciding on a course book to adopt, you probably won't have the chance to go through all of the activities in the course book to analyze them, right? But taking one unit as a sample, avoid the first and the last. Taking one unit from the middle and looking at one unit of work in a little bit more depth can be a great strategy. Because sometimes...
What's wrong with the last?
No, because sometimes the first and the last units, they are not the typical unit of the course book, because they have lots of introductory material, and in the end, there are things that are more related to the test that students are going to take or assessment. So getting units to analyze from the middle usually gives you a more typical unit of the course book. So you can really understand what the course book believes in, how the course book believes students learn. Yeah. All right. Can we move on to talk about adapting materials and supplementing things? Do you feel that having those two checklists can help you make a more informed decision when selecting a course book? Great. But if you don't find the perfect course book for you, welcome to the world. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
It's going to be good for you, but not for anybody else.
But I mean, because he said if you cannot find the right course book for you, write one. And I agree. And I want to encourage all of you to write a course book. But isn't that what we do every day? Isn't that what we do when we have a set course book? Don't we rewrite it? Don't we add things, bring new elements, bring a video, things like that are in a way compensating for the aspects of the course book that are not really suitable for our groups. So again, we're going to look at some principles to try to make this a more informed decision to better equip you guys to do it a little bit more comfortably. So the first thing you need to identify is what you need, right? Because it's not just, oh, I'm teaching, this course book has, in the second unit, has lesson 2.3. That's a lesson about likes and dislikes. So I'm going to adapt it. Why? I mean, is there a reason for you to adapt it? Yeah, there is. We don't do it for the sake of, we don't supplement for the sake of supplementing. We find other materials because we identify a need that the present material we're using does not help us satisfy, right? So this choice could be because we want to personalize it to make it more relevant to students. For example, there's a lesson in which the context of the language is buying a new house. And you have students, and you know that your students are not buying houses because they're 15. If there are any 15-year-olds buying houses, I'll be very depressed because I still didn't manage to buy mine. But I don't know, with technology and startups and things like that, it's possible. So you know that your students are not really looking to buy a house, but they might be looking to buy a skateboard, a cell phone, bitcoins, whatever that is. They're probably willing to buy something, right? So rather than having that text about what you have to bear in mind when buying a house, you can personalize it, make it more relevant to students by giving them another text, how to buy your smartphone effectively, yeah? You could also be doing that for individualization purposes. So to help students that have specific preferences. It happens a lot when you have private students because the course books assume that you're working with a group and that learning will happen through interaction between students, right? And the course book also assumes that everybody learns the same way. So if the course presents grammar in a way, either of the methodological theories that they follow, they have a belief there. And you might have in your group of students who learn better one way by analyzing the language and students who learn better in another way, by trial and error, for example. So then you can make these adaptations to make your students learn more effectively. Also to localize geographical aspects. So there's a great unit about tourism in Thailand, which is, just a few hairs more expensive than going to Salvador. So you might want to adapt it in that sense as well, to talk about the Brazilian reality, rather than talk about world reality. Remember, course books are made to be sold all over the world. So they will be a little bit neutral in terms of topic, things that can be talked about everywhere and that are of interest to people across the globe. And sometimes finding the things that are interesting for our Brazilian students, our Baruvian students, is that what you call someone? Is that what you call someone from Bauru? Baruvian? Or attendees. And we also might want to modernize it. Because sometimes everything there is great, but it's just so old. What? So not just the text, but also the language, right? Because the language changes a lot. So if you look at course books that were published in the 90s and the early 2000s, they're, they're not really gonna work. I saw the other day a course book that was like, technology. I'm even talking about technology. And there was a picture of a computer with one of those big monitors, right? The course book will always be a step behind in terms of what happens in the world, just for the time that it takes to be published. Yeah? Great.
Just a second.
Oh, sorry. So these are the forming reasons why it might be important to supplement the course, right?
And in that aspect, modernize can be something that happened yesterday, for instance, or it's happening.
Exactly.
Up to date.
And if your students have internet connection and you're feeling daring and you're feeling brave, you can even, instead of do the reading from the course book, you can say, Google recent trends in technology and read articles there on the spot.
Like geographical aspects, for instance, Portugal and the fire.
Exactly.
Is up to date.
Yeah. And so how can you do it? What should you bear in mind when you do it? You can add activities or exercises, and that's easy, right? Because adding is quite straightforward in that sense. So you look at the course book and you see there is not enough practice. Students need a few more exercises before they start speaking, for example. So you can add an activity, bring an activity in a handout or something like this, or the other way around. There are too many exercises So I'm just gonna skip exercise 2. They're gonna do 1, 4, and then move on to a more communicative activity. Yeah? Other things you could do is reorder these steps, the exercises in the lesson and the units themselves. Work with one unit before working with the other. And also modify it a little bit. So modify the language in the activities, especially if you're modernizing, right? And you look at the language and say, nobody talks like that anymore. Question tags, for example. Question tags. Of course, I'm not saying that we don't have to teach them question tags, but there are so many question tags that are not in the course books. No course books say in it, which is probably the most used question tag if you go to Britain. People would just use in it with anything in it. So you might want to modify and include, in it, instead of saying, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? Or they are beautiful girls, aren't they? People would just say, it's a beautiful day, innit? They're beautiful girls, innit? So, and things like this, because they're recent, they're not in the course book, innit?
How do you write it?
I don't think you do. I would write it I-N-N-I-T. Because that's what it sounds like, but it's typical of spoken conversation, not of written conversation. So this would be an example of modifying. And you might want to simplify things a little bit. Let's say the grammar explanation of the course book. It's great, it's neat, but your students have already struggled with grammar explanations in the past. So you might want to create a simpler explanation, or instead of talking about present simple and present continuous together, one explanation for present simple, work with it, one explanation for present continuous, and only then put them together. Yeah?
Last month I was reading an old textbook about technology. The newest technology at that moment was the fax machine.
Sorry, the what? The fax machine? I didn't. Yeah, I think because you have to remember I'm 16, right? So I think I've seen it in a museum or I remember the bibliographer. That's the type of technology I miss. And if you don't know what mimeographer is, don't let me know. So, can I ask you and your partners to choose one of these? For example, you and your partner say, let's delete. So look at one lesson there in the course book and find something that you feel could be deleted. Or if you decide to add, look at the course book and say, what could you put there to make it more interesting? All right, everyone. Thank you. What did you do? Did you add something? Did you delete something? Did you modify something, simplify? No, we just talked about it. It is. It is. It's true. Hilda made an excellent point there. She said, this book is really complex, so for you to delete or add something, you really have to put some thought into it. It's not just going recklessly doing it. And that's a great point. It's not just that book. I think any course book, right? The units in course books, they are designed to follow a logical sequence that's coherent, makes sense. You know, it's got seal of approval of somebody. And these decisions, they should be informed decisions, right? But I'm confident that all of us have the skills and the knowledge to do it, yeah? Sometimes we're lazy, sometimes we don't have time, but we can do it. And one thing that might be hard, though, is how to find materials. Well, there's always Google that can help you find anything in the world. Activity for listening with intermediate students, house. But there are some well-known online, especially online tools that can help you a lot. I do lots of online research to try to find ideas, something that I might not use exactly as it is, but then I might modify the modification, you know, and it becomes a cycle. And I want to share with you some of the ones I found. I'm really into using real-life media to help make lessons more relevant and things like that. Because I find that students usually like to see, I don't know, things that they see on television there in the classroom and things like that. So much so that the first course I designed for Cultura Inglesa was a upper intermediate conversation course that is completely based on TV series and films. So it doesn't have a course book. It has scenes from TV series and films. And one blog that helps a lot with that, how to work with this audiovisual material, is Jamie Caddy's lesson stream blog. He's got lots of ideas. You might use them as they are, or you might use them as inspiration as well. But we have our own Brazilian world-famous machine of ideas to use in the classroom, which are the blogs Movie Segment to Assess Grammar Goals and Movie Segments for Warm-Ups and Follow-Ups. Do you know them? Yes. There are two blogs. They started off in Brasilia, right? And they used snippets from films to help practice language, practice skills, and all of that. I've used so many of them. And you can also contribute with your ideas, which is also great. And of course, the British Council has lots of activities, lesson plans, and things like that you can download for free. So those are some websites that will give you the product, right? They will give you the activities already designed. But if you want to be better able to understand how to design your own activities, the Disal blog is a great way. There are no activities there, but there are a lot of blog posts from people from all over Brazil and the world with insights that could help you design them more effectively and adapt the materials more effectively. All right? The references you saw there in the course book, these are the ones. Another moment for people to take pictures. I never know if I should stand next to it and make a face like yeah. Very, make an intelligent face like. And if you want to get in touch, bounce ideas, ask me questions or anything, this is my email that you can find me. Also the link to the Richmond Share where I write when I find the time. And my LinkedIn. If you have a QR code scanner, you can just scan this code and it will give you my business card. Yeah, very fancy, I know. Yeah. Thank you very much to those of you who drove 300 kilometers or slept for 300 kilometers to be here today. And for those of you who live just next door and came as well, your journey is just as important. Hope you had some insights there. See you guys soon. Okay. Bye-bye.